So briefly, what do we think, guys, before the fighters walk to the ring? Adam Booth, how do you see it going?
Oh, this is the really painful one. I'm flip-flopping every moment when I think about this. There's a pivotal moment in the fight. The first time that Kell nails Spence clean. If Spence stays composed and it doesn't affect him, I see him winning this fight. If Kell can stun him and get some type of reaction from catching him early in the fight, Kell wins this fight.
Buncey, you've been pretty confident all week for Kell Brook, haven't you? That's built towards the end of the week.
Yeah, and it has built towards the end of the ring, and I am confident for Kell, but I also think it'll be really close, really controversial, and I think the Americans will end up screaming. But Kell by tight decision.
The crowd are ready. Michael Buffer is just about ready, and as Mike Costello has just told us, the fighters are ready here at Bramall Lane as well.
And the first of them to make his way to the ring will be Errol Spence, and he's being serenaded before he arrives by 3 trumpeters who are waiting at the top of the stairs, which leads down to the dressing rooms here at the home of Sheffield United. Earlier on, not only were the flags fluttering, but the flagpoles were swaying in the wind. The breeze has eased now as we await the arrival of the 2 fighters for the main event. There is just this sense of momentum all around British boxing at the moment, with Hay versus Bellew in March, Joshua versus Klitschko in April. Is this another special night?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's get this party started! Coming to the ring first, here comes the challenger, Errol, the true Spence Jr.
And as images of his career highlights are posted on the 4 screens high above us here at ringside, provoking a chorus of wild derision here from the crowd of 27,000 as Errol Spence appears in full view now. There's a smile, almost a contemptuous smirk on his face, in a predominantly white gown above white trunks with gold chevrons and tassels. He's been so confident during the week here. Oscar de la Hoya has predicted this man, to use his word, will destroy Kell Brook. Freddie Roach says Spence will knock out Kell Brook. There is a staggering amount of confidence all across the United States behind this man. So much so, as I was saying earlier, there is a huge television crew from Showtime, the cable broadcasters of boxing, alongside HBO in the United States, as Errol Spence comes close to the ring on the far side of the ring, up the 4 steps and in between the 2 center ropes of the 4, and skips around in the center of the ring here, flicks back the hood of his cape, and he settles close to the red corner just to our right here. This is his first contest outside of North America as a professional, returning to the country where he failed to win a medal at the Olympic Games. But his transition to the professional ranks has been mightily impressive. But Steve Bunce, the biggest challenge of his career by some margin, awaits.
Well, he's already had one of the big challenges. He's already had to answer one thing, the walk to the ring, and that look on his face, that smile on his face, looked to me like he was slightly bemused. He's never had to come into this, Mike. He's fought in gymnasiums at universities you've never heard of. He's fought in the tiniest casinos in Las Vegas. Tonight, it's big time. Step 1, Kell's been here, he hasn't.
Spence shadow boxing in the ring just above us here as his trainer Derek James hoists a tiny American flag and waves it in the wave of this hostility here.
And now making his entrance to the ring, the defending world champion, the special one, Kell, Special Kell Brook.
The ovation for a hometown hero. Many ask the question, why is he coming back down to the welterweight poundage After last fighting at middleweight against Gennady Golovkin last September, he's had to drop a full stone in weight, and he says simply it's because he's stubborn and because it took him 10 years to win the cherished IBF Welterweight Championship of the world, and he's not giving it up, literally without a fight. And listen to the roar as his image appears first of all on the screens above the ring here. The familiar entrance of Kell Brook, who's in a predominantly red t-shirt. And this, the biggest occasion of his career as a welterweight, for sure. Yes, he went to the United States to beat Sean Porter in Carson, California in August of 2014. But everybody is rating Errol Spence as a class above even Sean Porter. As the lights flash all around us at ringside here, and the expectation just grows with every step that Kell Brook takes along that lonely corridor. It's all down to him now. As Adam Booth has been saying, everything that's been preached to him through the long, torturous training camp is now his to carry out as he waits at the exit from the dressing rooms and savours this atmosphere on what could be the greatest night of his boxing life. There's tension in the face, of course there is, because this is a huge challenge for him against the man that the Americans have said pretty much only has to turn up to win. They say that he's the new welterweight star, but Kell Brook wants to silence them all. He bangs the red gloves together as he makes his way purposefully striding to the ring, flanked by security personnel on a night when there are more security personnel here than were in place for Joshua versus Klitschko at Wembley a month ago, with a crowd 3 times the size. But these are very different circumstances in a week like this. But Kell Brook, who fought at the Manchester Arena in the past, has been saying what a poignant time it is as the father of 2 daughters, but he simply has to be professional, and that professional work starts very soon. As he climbs the steps, he will wait on the ring apron and savour here the adulation. He throws a succession of imaginary right uppercuts that will soon, hopefully, he thinks, be landing on Errol Spence. Spence follows his every move and just shakes his head, rolls his neck, and waits calmly for the instructions from Michael Buffer. And the tension, Adam, is just growing and growing. You've been in there, you know what these moments feel like.
The weight of the atmosphere is absolutely sensational. I think Kell's face looks tense. I think Spence looks more relaxed of the two. Probably because Kell understands a little bit more about the challenge that he's got ahead of him. Maybe that is still to be proven to Errol Spence.
Yes, Kelly's under pressure, Mike. We all know that. He's put himself under pressure, both making the weight, coming down here and accepting this fight, and the weight of expectation from these people in here. This is a Kell Brook loving. It's not 27,000 people, it's 27,000 followers.
Kell Brook went to the United States and beat an American in an American ring. Errol Spence, who's still looking pretty confident, but he too is more tense than at any time during the week, is trying to do the reverse, to beat a British champion in a British ring. And the crowd now are really stoked. They know that they could be so important here tonight in lifting Kell Brook to the best performance of his welterweight career. The special one, as he's been labelled for so many years, needs a special performance here tonight. Both men supremely talented. It's experience against promise.
We honor challenger and champion with their respective national anthems. First, for the challenger, the national anthem of the United States of America, the Star-Spangled Banner. national anthem for the United Kingdom, God Save the Queen. Ladies and gentlemen, from Bramall Lane, Sheffield, Yorkshire, England, this is the main event of the evening. And it's all brought to you by Eddie Hearn for Matchroom Boxing in association with TGB Promotions. It's live on Sky Sports, Box Office, and live to America on Showtime. The main event, 12 rounds of boxing for the welterweight championship of the world. Sponsored by BetSafe, StubHub, and JD Sports, and sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control, Supervisor and President Charles Giles, and the International Boxing Federation, President Darrell Peoples, Supervisor from the United States, Anibal Miramontes. Timekeeper at the bell is Barry Pinder. The three judges scoring this bout: from the United States, Adelaide Bird; from Mexico, Alejandro Lopez; and from the United Kingdom, Dave Paris. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, World Championship veteran referee Howard Foster. And now, the officials are ready. The fighters are ready. Boxing fans, are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions around the world who wish they could be here, ladies and gentlemen, from Sheffield, England, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, with his trainer Derek James wearing white with gold. His official weight, 10 stone, 6 pounds, 5 ounces. His professional record is a perfect one. 21 fights, 21 victories, including 18 big wins by knockout. From DeSoto, Texas, USA, the IBF #1 ranked challenger in the world, Errol the Truth Spence Jr. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner with his trainer, Dominic Engel. He's wearing red and white and officially weighed in at 10 stone, 6 pounds, 7 ounces. In 37 professional fights, he has 36 victories, including 25 wins by knockout and 1 defeat. That defeat in the middleweight division, as he is undefeated as a welterweight. He's the fighting pride of Sheffield, Yorkshire, England, the reigning, defending IBF welterweight champion of the world, the special one, Kell Special K.
What a night for sturdy ears, and the last few words before the first bell from referee Howard Foster.
Okay guys, spoke to you both in the dressing room. You both know what I expect. Keep it clean, break straight away when told. Both of you watch your heads in close. Good luck to you both. Touch gloves. Good luck, lads.
Well, Kell Brook has said this week that when his time is done, he wants to be remembered as the man who fought them all. And the challengers don't come much tougher than this in Errol Spence, who says this will be his coming out party. The champion, Kell Brook, against the challenger, Errol Spence. And we're underway in an amazing atmosphere here at the home of Sheffield United, where Kell Brook has been coming since the age of 7 with his uncle Johnny, who held aloft the IBF Championship belt in the pre-fight ceremonies. And now Kell Brook himself is centre stage, just 4 or 5 feet above the centre circle here at the home of his beloved football club. The first punch thrown is a jab from Spence, but Brook sees it coming and avoids it comfortably. Brook goes forward, slightly off balance with a cluster of 4 punches. Spence neatly avoided those by just stepping back out of range. Not surprisingly, a tentative start from both men in the first 45 seconds of the opening round. They're in the centre of the ring. They exchange jabs. The right-hand lead of southpaw Spence, the left-hand lead of Brook from the orthodox stance. Brook moving around to his left, as he was implored to do throughout his sparring sessions with various southpaws in training camp in the Canary Islands. Brook is shaping up in front of Spence. Spence throws another tentative, apprehensive right jab, was shy of the target and shy of the punching range. Brook comes forward with a jab of his own. That too missed. Brook tries a couple of jabs after making Spence miss. The first scoring punch of the round is a lovely right hand to the body from Brook, and then he lands a jab onto the right hand side of the face of Errol Spence. Spence is feeling the punches of a champion for the first time in his professional career in his 22nd fight. The two men come close for the first time and they work away with sharp punches inside, but they land only on each other's gloves. Spence tries another one of those jabs, falls short once again and is clipped by Brook. Brook leans in with an overhand right. Got to be so careful that he doesn't fall off balance and walk into a left hand, one of the most potent punches of Spence. Spence digs in with a left hand to the body. Brilliant shot from the American. He tries another one of those to the body, because if Kell Brook is going to struggle at the weight here, having to lose a stone from his fighting weight last time around, then it could be the body punches that will tell as the fight wears on. Spence tries another one of those left hooks, come uppercuts to the body of Brook, beneath the right-hand side of the ribcage of the British fighter, the champion, making his 4th defence of the title he won 3 years ago. Brook goes after his man. He tries to land a right hand, tried to time it, but it was just smothered by the gloves of Spence. In the action that has moved close to Brook's corner, the blue corner, far side of the ring. The crowd still agog here, waiting for Brook to land the first telling punch for him of the contest so far. The best punches of this round have been 2 body punches with the left hand of Errol Spence, but it's very tight. Another left hand from the American, lands flush into the body, then he follows up to the head. One of those punches, a right hook landed, then a jab, but simultaneously a jab from the left hand of Brook also landed. Brook gets through with a short, sharp right hand, draws applause from ringside. A very tight opening round between champion and challenger Steve Bunce.
Well, that was as technical and it was as tight and it was as intense as I expected it to be. Do you give that round to Kell Brook for a couple of jabs and a right hand that nearly connected, or do you give it to Errol Spence for slipping in some southpaw lefts when he was holding with his right hand? Spence having to really think his way through, and of the two, Kell looks like the man who's suffering from a lengthy gap from the ring.
I think that was as close as an opening round can be, so I've scored it even. In the last few moments of that, Errol Spence let a couple of 3-punch combinations go. It looked like he settled in the last 20-30 seconds of that.
And so it was only the last 20 seconds, wasn't it?
It was literally the last few moments of the round. Errol Spence settled down. Be interested to see how this next round starts.
There's very impressive composure in the corner of Spence. He's closest to us, just a few feet away in the red corner. You heard the timekeeper. Round 2 then of a scheduled 12. Kell Brook's 4th defence of his hard-won IBF welterweight title. Was this a wise move in coming back down into the welterweight poundage after last time boxing at 11.5 stone rather than 10.5 stone in challenging Gennady Golovkin for the world middleweight title belts? Now a sharp jab again from the right hand of Errol Spence, lands at the beginning of the round, and again with that right hand. He is just beginning to find the range with that jab, but so Brook went to the body with a sharp right hand at the same time. Brook steps in with a right hand. Spence saw it coming. Brook almost fell off balance once again. His feet turned untidy just for a moment. Spence is happy to play the counter puncher, but Brook gets through. Good right hand from Kell Brook, then a left hook. Spence stands his ground in the centre of the ring, trying to demoralise Brook here, trying to show that he's got a champion's chin, as well as the ability that so many have said will take him to the title here this evening. He comes here highly touted in the United States, but never has he been in with somebody who punches with such punishing power in this 10 stone 7 division as Kell Brook. A jab from Spence again gets through, but Spence has been shaken here in the opening minute or so of the second round. Shaken and hurt like at no stage in his professional career. He stands his ground though, as Brook tries to whip in a left hook behind the right hand guard of Spence. Spence dives forward with a jab and then ducks his head. Another jab from Spence gets through, so too one from Kell Brook with the left hand, and then a lovely powerful right hand to the body from Brook. Then he clips off with a left hook, but a left hand got through there from Spence as well. There's a reddening around the left cheekbone of Kell Brook. Roar from the crowd as he gets through with another jab, but a jab from Spence is the immediate response. We head towards the last minute of the second round, and this has been a lively round for both men. Both men landed solidly. Another jab from Spence gets through, but Brook takes it well, steps off, tries a jab of his own, moves away towards the left, tries a right hand that bounces only off the gloves of Spence. Spence comes forward behind a high guard, almost walks into the punches of Brook. Brook steps off to the ropes to give himself punching room, whips in a left hook, then a right hand, straight right hand that was blocked by the gloves of Spence. Spence comes forward once again, looking to launch that left hand to the body that was successful in the first round, but Brook opens up again, flicks out a jab, forces Spence back, then a right hand gets through from Brook, but it was negated in terms of its effect by the gloves of Brook, of Spence should I say. Now a left hook from Brook gets through, overhand right from Brook, just shy of the target, right hand to the body from Brook, who switches to the southpaw stance. That's a sign of his confidence, immediately back to orthodox, then a right hand to the body. This is a good round for Brook so far. Last few seconds, another sharp right hand, and then he makes Spence miss with a jab by just almost nonchalantly dropping his shoulder. Again Brook lands with a short sharp right hand, but Spence still comes forward. End of the second round. Steve Bunce, a better round for Brook.
It was a better round for Brook, it was a busier round for Brook, but he seems quite relaxed, Spence, taking those 2 and 3 punch combinations. They're not landing clean, they're half cuffing him, they're getting through, but they're keeping him from throwing punches. But as he went back there, he gave a wink to Derek James in his corner. He looks quite content, Errol Spence, to be pushed back and hit on the gloves.
Kell was busy in that round because Errol Spence made him busy, and if you look, for the last 30 seconds Spence was just walking him down. He wasn't even really looking at landing shots, he was walking him down, letting him know that he could walk through the punches and make him work however he wanted to. And although I scored that round for Kell, I scored it because he threw the shots and landed the shots. It was because Spence was making him do the work.
I'll tell you what's really interesting, Mike, we've been looking for Spence's body shots. He threw 2 or 3 right hands, Kell Brook there, that really seemed to sink into Spence. Good shots. I'd like to see a few more of those as we progress here.
Yes, interestingly, both men landing solidly at this stage to the body. Steve's got it 2 rounds to 0 for Kell Brook. I've got it a round apiece at this stage. It's building into that fascinating kind of contest as both men landed cleanly in that second round. Now Brook gets off with a left-right combination, but takes a much sharper jab from Errol Spence, who seems so composed on this, his first championship appearance at this level. Flicks out a jab, then a left hand to the body, Spence, but he's grabbed by Kell Brook. They get a bit untidy on the inside. Kell Brook steps off, left hook to the body, right hook to the head from Spence. Good work by the American on the inside and at medium range from his position in the centre of the ring. He just misses with a left uppercut, then a jab. You get the sense that Spence is beginning to up the work rate here. Maybe he believes that Kell Brook doesn't want to fight at this kind of pace. Heading towards the end of the first minute of round number 3. The crowd getting behind Brook, but Spence goes after him with a couple of jabs. Good right hand, and then a good right hand again from Spence. 2 in a row. A straight jab and then a right hook. And Kell Brook was shaken on the ropes right above us here. Brilliant work by the American. Sharp jab again from Spence, and he goes after Brook, and Brook now is holding on the ropes on the right hand side of the ring as we look on. He turns 180 degrees, tries to mount an attack of his own, but good work in the first half of this round from Errol Spence. He looks so confident, the American. He backs onto the ropes. He's driven back to his own corner now by Kell Brook, but he sways back using the elasticity of the ropes to throw a couple of sharp punches, including a right hook. It was the right hook on the ropes just above us here 30 seconds ago that landed solidly. Brook gets through with a good jab, tries to throw an uppercut, then a right hand. Good work from Brook, but Spence takes them well in the centre of the ring. Spence just tried to throw a body shot but didn't quite time it right and was caught on the way in by a jab from Brook. Brook goes after his man once again, swaying from the waist, rolling the gloves, trying to keep Spence guessing. Spence moves away towards Brook's own corner. Now Brook opens up in his own corner, tries to tie up Spence on the ropes, but Spence is taking the punishment well and covering up well also to nullify the latest attack. Right hand to the body from Kell Brook, but it's been a better round for the American so far, and there are 40 seconds to go. It's the third round of what's developing into a terrific contest here. Spence works away on the inside as his head is held down by Kell Brook. Spence misses with a wild right hook, then an overhand right from Brook just grazes the top of the head of the American. Spence times the uppercut beautifully as Brook goes forward off balance here. Last few seconds of round number 3, and the men are on the far side of the ring. Brook is leaning in on Spence, who's got his back to the ropes. Now he forces him off. Left right from Brook, land only on the ropes of Spence, but now Brook turns to a southpaw stance and does get through. The crowd here responds, but a lot of those punches landed only on the gloves of the American, who turns abruptly towards the corner and again nods his head at the end of the third round. Adam Booth.
A very good round for Errol Spence. Kell finished it stronger. I score the round for Errol Spence because he did some sensational work at the start of the round, and Kell did what we know Kell can do. He just found a way to keep grinding into him towards the second half, or the latter part of the round. Errol Spence looked a bit uncomfortable at the end, but it was his round.
Yeah, I think what happened at the end, I think Kell just out-physicaled him. He just pushed him back after about 2 minutes, and if Spence was going along one side of the ropes there, and you could see him thinking, I don't need to tangle with him. I don't need to waste so much energy. I don't need to go into a wrestling match with him. I think I can win it from the outside, and he probably can if he boxes the way. It's Kell's job to break down the space and to get close. I still think Kell's having trouble with the right hand. It's not coming across clean. He's throwing it like a bit of a bowling shot. He needs to maybe just tighten it up a little bit, Mike.
There have been rumours during fight week that he's had a problem with the right hand. Is that why at times he appears to be pulling a punch? He certainly didn't pull it there. Right hand at the beginning of the round. Terrific shot from Kell Brook, deep into the abdomen of Errol Spence, who will be tested here tonight like he hasn't been tested in his professional career. 21 wins, a lovely sharp right hand from Brook gets through, and a second one. Good start to the round from Brook, to the body and the head. 2 solid right hands to the body and 2 to the head. But noticeably, Spence stands his ground in the centre of the ring and now steps forward and tries to throw a right hook with a downward trajectory onto the chin, the left-hand side of the face of Kell Brook. Brook tries an uppercut, a right hand. Spence responds with a left hand of his own, a looping left hand that has been so potent throughout his professional career, but which hasn't really worked so far tonight. Another overhand right from Kell Brook does get through, maybe allaying our fears about a problem with that right hand. A jab from Spence as Brook moves untidily away from a clinch. Lovely left hand to the body from Spence, and now Spence has Brook on the ropes just above us here. We can almost feel, we're almost wincing as those body shots go in from Errol Spence, particularly from the left hand. They really do sink into the body of Kell Brook. But credit to Brook, he's taking them well, and almost immediately on every occasion he fires back. That's what champions do. And as he said at the beginning of this week, he wants to be remembered as the man who took on all the challenges. And now he drives Spence into the ropes on the right hand side of the ring as we look on, and we move into the second half of round number 4. Howard Foster, the referee, encouraging the 2 men to work away on the inside. They do that. They're fighting men with warriors' hearts. Now they separate. Spence moves onto the ropes, moves around towards his own left, tries to swivel 180 degrees, turns Brook onto the ropes. Brook is content to hold on at this stage. He can't find the punching room. Just for a moment, Brook looks slightly laboured in his footwork there. He falls into a left hand towards the body, and a good jab lands crisply on the jaw. Southpaw jab from Errol Spence onto the jaw of Brook. Brook virtually falls forward, drives the American into the ropes on the right hand side of the ring. Left right from Brook, but didn't really send them in with any power. They were weak, loose-limbed punches. Now he flicks out a jab. He tried to trap Spence on the ropes, but Spence produced terrific footwork and moved away. Now Brook lands a right uppercut and tries to follow up with a left hook, but he's held by Spence, who steps off to the centre of the ring. Jab from Spence, right hand from Brook, a second right hand from Brook, then a left uppercut. He complains to the referee about a low blow, and then Brook immediately throws another right hand to the body. Another close round. The two men swinging in the centre of the ring here. Hooks from Errol Spence, a dipping left hook just missed, and he gets through with a right hand, does Brook, but a jab from Spence at the same time lands. Again, both men landing simultaneously almost throughout the round. What a contest this is turning out to be. World Championship boxing. George Groves already crowned a world champion here tonight by beating Fedor Chudinov in 6 rounds, and now Kell Brook attempting to hold on to his IBF welterweight title after 4 rounds of a pulsating contest. Steve Bunce.
A real fight, Mike, a proper fight, and finally after 22 fights we're finding out that Errol Spence is the fighter we've been told, that he can fight, that he can take the pressure, that he is having to force himself to go where he has never been yet as a professional. Kell is also having to extend himself, Adam. Nobody is having an easy night in there this evening. The pair of them are having a battle non-stop.
Errol Spence took 2 solid right hands at the start of that round and came back and looked to compete. I still give the round to Kell because he just pressured him and manned him.
I gave it to Errol. I've got it 2-2 now, 2-2.
I've got it 2-2. Quickly, Adam.
2-1 and 1 even in favour of Kell.
Right hand to the body for Kell Brook is another one of his signature punches as he began the last round as well. This is the 5th round. Solid right hand to the body from Brook, then a good jab as Spence tries a right hook and falls away untidily towards the centre of the ring. Brook is really asking questions of the man from DeSoto in Texas that has already been proclaimed by many in the United States as the next big thing in American boxing. But Brook is making him really work to acclaim that status here tonight. The two men get caught in a clinch on the far side of the ring, and the referee Howard Foster separates them. Kell Brook now rolling those gloves once again. Jab from Spence and a left hook to the body from the American. Both of them land. A second left hand to the body doesn't. It lands only on the forearm of Brook. Brook takes a jab to the side of the head, tries to throw a right hand of his own, didn't quite time it with the efficiency that's been a hallmark of his big punching throughout his career. Spence works away towards the inside. Again, nothing landed solidly there as he works away to the body. 1 or 2 punches straying low, but the two men are working so hard here and they're giving everything. The referee is allowing those punches to stray because there doesn't seem to be any deliberate intent. And Brook comes forward, mounts another attack. Spence negates most of it, but does take a right hand to the body. That's been a successful shot so far for Kell Brook in terms of the straight right and the hook come uppercut as well. Jab from Spence lands in the centre of the ring. The man who's had 18 inside the distance wins in his 21 fights. And 2 stoppage wins against Chris Algieri and Leonard Bundu in his last 2 performances really raised his reputation because those 2 men were being stopped inside the distance for the first time in their respective careers. Now Spence tries a left hand, but he's made to miss and takes a right hand high on the head from Brook. Brook drives forward once again. A gasp from 1 or 2 at ringside as Brook sends in a right hand, but in truth it landed on the gloves of Spence. The American comes back to the centre of the ring. Last minute of round number 5, and this could still go either way. Brook is buoyed by a right hand that lands on the chin of Spence. Spence takes it well. Right hand to the body again from Kell Brook. Maybe Brook has the edge in this round at this stage. 40 seconds still to go for Spence to land some shots of his own. Spence seems to have lost a bit of his timing and a bit of his clinical accuracy just at this stage of the contest. As he steps forward now, he's never had to work this hard. Stopped Chris Algieri at this stage of his contest, but Chris Algieri pretty much a light welterweight moving up, although he had gone the distance with Manny Pacquiao and with Amir Khan. And now Spence tries to open up, lands solidly with a straight left hand, and then wings in the hooks from the right hand and the left hand. but Brook smothers that work and just holds on in the style of a long-time professional. It took him 10 years to win the world title, and that's why he said he wasn't going to give it up outside of the ring. Brook tries 2 successive right hands and looks out of the ring to Tony Bellew and to Darren Barker, world champions both, for some encouragement. Let's get a word now, listening to Dominic Ingle in the Brook corner.
Just don't step forward onto your right foot to southpaw when you're throwing that right hand. I know it's difficult, because he's dipping down, but just find yourself, get yourself slightly on the outside when you're picking that jab. Give me some Vaseline, please. I've got the Vaseline.
So Dominic Ingle there is trying to work out a way for Kell Brook to throw the right hand with more punishing efficiency.
Part of the problem with the right hand, that was a terrific right, we've seen a slow-mo with a brilliant right hand. Part of the problem with the right hand, Mike, is he's holding it so high, so high to his face. I'm not sure if that's half to protect that damaged eye, or whether it's just because he's wary of that whipping left. He almost throws it like a hook as across the Spence throws. Maybe it's because I don't know, but the right is not being effective, Adam. It's not working.
They're both just having to work very hard for any success.
World Championship Boxing on 5 Live and the BBC Sport website on another pulsating night outdoors. Kell Brook here looking to make a 4th successful defence of his IBF welterweight title, which he won in the United States 3 years ago. They open up in an exchange in the centre of the ring. Errol Spence falls off balance there. No punch landed, but Kell Brook takes up the invitation and drives forward. But Spence responds and works away to the body on the ropes on the right-hand side of the ring. Spence showing he wasn't hurt. He was off balance. And now it's Kell Brook who's under pressure. It's Kell Brook who's holding on. And now a right hook and then a left hook to the body from Errol Spence. They both break away towards the centre of the ring. Spence is also at times looking tired, but there's still a sharpness in his punches. He misses with a right hook that finds its way around the back of Kell Brook. Kell Brook is trying to hold on the inside. He's grabbing Spence, drives Spence back to the red corner, his own corner, the American's corner, but Spence extricates himself. Left, right from Brook. Applause from 1 or 2 of his fans at ringside. They're trying to lift him here, Brook, into something that would be pretty special here against the man the Americans think so highly of. Jab from Spence, then a left hand to the body, then a right hook, another left hand to the body. The American busy at the start of this round, maybe being told by his corner that he is in the champion's backyard, but he has to make it more noticeable, more effective here. His attacking work, right hand from Kell Brook, just slides past the right hand side of the head of Errol Spence, who just dropped a shoulder to try to make him miss. Another right hand lands in a similar spot from Kell Brook. Jab from Spence misses in the centre of the ring. The 2 men really being made to work for their openings here and really being made to show their resilience as we head to the last minute of round number 6. Brook pushes his man off. Spence bounces off the ropes, moves away towards his left. Right hand from Brook gets through. It was a short, sharp right hand. Then the men exchange left hands. Good left hand to the body from Errol Spence. Then a right hand to the head from Kell Brook. They're landing here almost tit for tat. As soon as one man gets through, so the other responds. The sign of 2 very accomplished fighters here, producing something to remember here at Bramall Lane. The first boxing here since 1984. Jab from Spence gets through. He tries another left uppercut. Right-left combination from Spence. And then a jab as he steps away. Right hand from Kell Brook gets through. But then another left hand from Spence. And the 2 men are really starting to open up here with 20 seconds to go in round number 6. And Brook drives Spence back to the ropes just on the left-hand side. And then wings-ing another right uppercut. And Spence is on the back foot here. He's moving away. He needs some respite. He swings around to the centre of the ring, does the American. Now being pressured like never in his professional career. The transition from the amateur ranks has been so smooth for the American, but this time that was a much harder round for Errol Spence. The end of round number 6. Steve Bunce.
It's such high quality. The work is exceptional. Some of the stuff that Spence put together in that first minute or so over on that rope there was absolute. It was the type of work you put together on a bag or in your imagination, not in the 6th round in front of 27,000 people against in a champion's hometown. We are seeing exceptional boxing stroke fighting here tonight, Adam.
You're right. There was a stumble at the start of the round, and it was like Errol Spence got offended by the crowd's reaction, and then put together like 45 seconds or a minute of fantastic work. And for that period of the round, I give that round to Errol Spence. Kell going back into it again, very strong, but like you said, they're both working every second of every round.
This is tight, Mike. This is open to interpretation. Someone could have this 6-0 either side, either way. You know that, don't you?
And this could well be 3 rounds apiece. I know Showtime at this stage have got Spence leading by 2 rounds. It could quite easily be the other way around. They might be looking at it with the American slant. There's a huge Showtime crew here. They've invested in Spence. Spence lands a brilliant left hand in the early stages of the 7th round. Carl Froch has got Kell Brook 4 rounds up at this stage, commentating for Sky Sports Television here at ringside. Brook in the centre of the ring marches after Spence as if to say, if you're going to take this title from me, if you're going to remove it from my waist, then you're going to have to nail me to the canvas to do so. Brook just bent his knees as if to throw a right hand to the body, but then thought twice about it because he feared there might be a sharp left hand coming his way from this razor sharp American Errol Spence, who's on the back foot at the moment, almost inviting Brook forward. Spence flicks out a jab, but it was shy of the target. He too is wary of the power of the punching of Kell Brook, but credit to the American in the toughest challenge so far. He's meeting it, and he's meeting it head on as Brook steps forward, tries a jab. Brook now driving Spence back to the ropes just above us here. He launches in with a right hand, now tries a couple of uppercuts, does Brook, but Spence sees them coming and holds on the inside, and the referee just calls a halt for a moment and warns Brook about illegal use of the shoulder on those close quarter exchanges. The two men are fighting up at close range here. Errol Spence has had to do very little of this in his professional career, although he is very seasoned in terms of sparring around the very best of American gyms. And he's looking accomplished here. Steps off onto the back foot, misses with a jab as Brook sees it coming and drops his shoulder and makes him miss. Spence dives off the corner post, the blue corner far side of the ring, and lands a right-left combination, then steps back. Neither man has landed anything really solid in this round. They've just been a little bit shy of the target, or not quite as accurate as they had been in earlier rounds, as if they're both beginning to feel the tremendous pace of this contest. Brook falls into his man. He threw 3 successive punches, all of them connected only with the Sheffield Night air here as Spence comes forward with a clipping left hand. Could have been dangerous if it landed slightly higher on the chin here. Brook still swaying confidently, driving Spence back to Brook's own corner on that far side of the ring, and now they hold on again in the last 30 seconds of round number 7. Into the second half of the contest we go, and we're going close to the territory that Spence has never been before. His longest contest has lasted 8 rounds, whereas Kell Brook has been the full distance on a number of occasions. Brook now lands a right hand. Spence on the ropes at this stage can't find any sanctuary. He's trying to move away, but Kell Brook is cutting off the ring space, stepping across, making the American work time and time again. Another difficult round to score. Last few seconds, the bell sounds as Brook tries to land a right hand. Round 7, Adam Booth.
Another incredibly tight round, and pretty much all of them, maybe bar one, have been that way. Errol Spence is starting to show the signs of battle, probably in a way that he never has done before.
Never.
Kell's been here before. Yep. It gets interesting now.
And he was being pushed around there. He was being manhandled. There was a point there, Mike, when neither of them threw a punch, but Kell pushed him back, half throwing punches, and he did catch him with a quite a decent right cross there. And I didn't like the way Spence reacted. How he's been reacting until that point is by landing 2 or 3 shots of his own, almost disdainfully, as Adam mentioned a couple of rounds ago. This fight is tight. I've got Kell up 4-3. I've got it 4-3 at the moment.
Adam,
I have it dead level.
Dead level after 7 rounds, potentially 5 more to go. Round 8, and we're heading into the territory that Ricky Hatton says is all about the fighters. Whatever they're being told in the corners at this stage, it's up to them now to summon something from deep, deep down And it comes down to desire and determination and resilience. Both men so far have shown plenty, but still potentially 5 rounds to go. Brook is on the front foot. Spence voluntarily on the back foot. Tries to now bend his knees and throw a left hand to the body, but the work is smothered by Kell Brook, who's just trying to make this a slugfest and to be the stronger man on the inside and to tire Spence out with these close quarter exchanges by just leaning on his man. A left hand to the body from Spence was a bit stray, it went a bit low, but no complaints from Brook, who gets through with a sharp right hand to the chin that draws applause from Nassim Hamed just in front of me here at ringside. Brook tries to open up and he drives Spence back to the ropes just above us here now. This is a potent attack from Brook. He goes to the body now, then a left uppercut. Solid work from Kell Brook. He steps off here because he knows he can't get too complacent, can't take too many chances. There's still sharpness and a vicious edge to the punches of Errol Spence. So Brook negated to opt to follow up there. Instead, he moved away and has allowed Errol Spence some respite here as the American steps forward. And now it's Spence on the front foot. It's Spence trying to force Kell Brook back. Brook sways away, makes the American miss. Spence steps back and just tries to find some room to whip in a left uppercut. But Brook again was too close to him and didn't allow him the leverage for that particular punch. Now Spence goes to the body with a left hand and a beautiful crunching right hand beneath the left elbow of Kell Brook. Good work to the body, left hand to the chin from Errol Spence. How well he's responded from a really turbulent time on the ropes here early in the round. And now Spence goes forward with a left hand. Brook saw it coming, made him miss. Brook tries another uppercut, left hook to the body from Spence, right hook to the chin from the American, then a jab from the American. He opens up with a cluster of punches in the centre of the ring. Mercifully for Brook, most of them just bouncing off his bright red gloves. But Spence is coming back here noticeably after a troubling start to the round. 40 seconds to go. It's round number 8 of a scheduled 12 here, as Spence draws in a huge lungful of breath and then marches forward to mount his latest attack. Brook tries to meet him head on, almost throws his man ragdoll-like into the ropes, but Spence bounces off those ropes and comes to the centre of the ring. Right, left combination from the southpaw stance from the American. The crowd here are trying to lift Kell Brook here to respond. Overhand right from Kell Brook, and Spence steps off onto the back foot. Was he hurt, or is he trying to counter punch here? Brook now drives forward, falls in his desperation to follow up with that particular attack. Nassim Hamed in front of me is imploring, urging Kell Brook to step forward. Kell Brook stared into the eyes of Errol Spence at the end of that round, trying to see if he could see the face of a beaten man. Let's go over to the corner again. Dominic Ingle.
He rings. It don't look like he has to me. Right, listen to me. That's round 8. You've got 4 more rounds. You're steadying this kid up now. You've got 4 rounds to get through this and get on top of him. You're in front, do you understand? You've got to keep in front. You've got to be smart, right? There's no ways out in this fight. We've got 12 rounds to do. Do you understand? That's what we're going to do with
So Dominic Ingle, Adam Booth saying that his man's in front and now just has to be sensible, basically.
That's a confident call from the corner in such a tight fight. Every round, the moments are going one way or the other, and they're both having equal amounts of success in the round. So to say that's quite a tight call.
I thought there was a little bit of a break there in the last minute or so. It looked to me like Kell was not only manhandling Spence, it looked to me like he was making Spence feel very uncomfortable. Little bit of tape, I think, Mike's slow start to the round.
And Errol Spence just shouted something to himself at the beginning of this, the 9th round. He believes he's still very much in this contest. Was that a turning point at the end of the round when Brook landed successfully? A crunching right hook from Kell Brook lands at the beginning of this, the 9th round. Potentially, as Dominic Ingle said, 4 rounds to go, and the two men are unleashing solid shots at the beginning of this round to the body and the head. Spence is standing his ground here, and he is living up to some of the billing, although many Americans thought it would be a lot more comfortable than it's turned out to be. The Americans perhaps will have Spence in front. The British here will have Brook in front. It's so close. Both men have been having periods of success in just about every round. Very few of the rounds have been clear-cut. Can Kell Brook bring his greater experience into play here? And now the referee calls a timeout because There's some work needed to be done on the wraps around the cuffs of the right glove of Kell Brook, who hasn't really landed that with any real precision often in the contest so far. With a slight blemish beneath his left eye, Kell Brook now is getting an ovation from the crowd here. At ringside, some of his followers are standing to their feet, but Errol Spence still looks pretty composed. He motions to throw a jab and then steps off as the American from his southpaw stance. Kell Brook is on the front foot, misses with a jab. A jab from the right hand of Spence does get through and potentially starting to do more damage to that lump beneath the left eye of Kell Brook. And that could be damaging for him if that was to grow, the swelling to grow and to cause him limited vision on that side of his face. As another jab from Spence gets through here. We see a spray of sweat rise above the head of Kell Brook here. And that lump is growing by the second beneath his left eye, and that will give Spence a chance to fire out that raking right jab of his. He's stepping after Brook. Brook is on the back foot now, close to the ropes just above us here, as Spence tries to measure his latest attack. He just missed with an overhand left, but did land with a right hand to the body, did the American. Another looping left hook, and Spence is on the attack here. Left, right, then a left hook to the body for the American. And his cornermen here are now imploring him forward, although he's driven into his own corner by Kell Brook. Brook hasn't landed anything of any real note in this round so far, with 40 seconds to go. And so it's Spence on the inside. Right hook from Spence drives Brook close to the ropes now. Right, left, right combination, and then it turns into a cluster of punches from Spence. Spence now seems to be growing in confidence. His mouth is open. He's getting more and more tired, but he's being buoyed by the fact that Brook doesn't seem to be firing back at this stage. And Spence here is mounting a big attack here. And there's a blink from Kell Brook, who tries a right hand. Spence, though, steps after his man. An overhand left. Brook sees it coming, but he's being subjected to another wild attack from Errol Spence here on the far side of the ring. And all of his fans here are willing Kell Brook back into the fray, and Kell Brook turns the tables on Spence and lands at the end of the round a solid shot and punches the air with his glove. But that was a good round for Errol Spence. Adam Booth.
Probably that was definitely the clearest round of the fight. Kell's eye started to swell up quite drastically early in the round, and I'm wondering if he's having a slight flashback to what happened in the Triple G fight, where all he had was a swelling going up under his eye. And he may now be thinking that he's got the same problem that he had back then, because effectively he shut down almost the entire round there.
And I wasn't sure if at the start he wasn't just doing what Dominic had told him, i.e. be smart and move, but then suddenly he seemed to panic. He got caught opposite us with a couple of short right hook, and then he fell into Spence and fell back across the ropes. That was an alarming, that was quite a scary round. And what's more, Mike, perhaps that's the moment that Kell's been dreading. That round when suddenly the one stone has got to him. I've got it 5-4 to Kell. 5-4.
You asked me 2 rounds ago. It's gone one each way. It's dead even for me still.
So close. 9 minutes to possibly define their careers. Errol Spence, the new sensation, they tell us, of American boxing. And can he mount an attack similar to the one that he forced Kell Brook to endure in round number 9? Brook tries an overhand right, and still that left eye continues to swell, and it's almost closed. And now Spence is mounting a serious attack. Brook is in trouble on the ropes, and Brook goes down. In the first 30 seconds or so of round number 10, there's a huge swelling beneath the left eye. He's blinking. He is definitely getting flashbacks. The referee asks him if he wants to continue. Brook now steps forward into the centre of the ring. 27,000 people trying to keep him on his feet as Spence begins to open up. The man they said was something special wants to finish it in style here. Right hook to the body, right hook to the head. Brook is firing nothing back. Is this the end in round number 10? Spence is opening up here, but he too is expending a lot of energy as Brook marches onto the front foot. There's still some fight in Brook. Where is he dredging this up from? From way beneath his boots as he steps forward, Brook, into the fray once again, because surely Spence also must be tired. Spence has never been this far in his professional career, but so Spence goes on the attack again. Brook covers up. He's on unsteady legs again, is Brook. He tries a nominal right uppercut. He's covering up on the ropes. He looks so desperate as Brook. He falls into a left hook rather than throws it. It's habit now rather than power in the punches of Brook. But still he turns, and everybody here throwing punches with Kell Brook, and he drives in a right uppercut. Unbelievably, Kell Brook is on the front foot. A left uppercut. Spence is the man to be heard. How can there be so many turnarounds in a single 3 minutes? A crunching right hand from Kell Brook. A right hand to the body. 45 seconds to go. And like two wounded soldiers, they virtually fall into the ropes. A swinging left hand from Spence. A left hand does get through. Then a right uppercut from Kell Brook. 30 seconds to go. Round number 10. Which way is it going to go? It looked like it would be all over. This the round in which Kell Brook was floored, and yet he's still standing. He looked a beaten man, but now he mounts the pressure. The last attack of round 10 is forced forward by Kell Brook. How on earth is he finding the willpower and the strength to even stand, let alone throw these punches at the end of round number 10? Salutes all around ringside here. They cannot help but rise to their feet. The bell has sounded to end round number 10, and we were sure we'd never hear that bell.
We're watching something special. 10-8 round to Errol Spence, but Kell's sheer championship heart, strength, determination, and everything good you can say about a fighter. We're watching something special unfold in front of our eyes here.
And when he went down there, Mike, I thought that was it. I think he's having flashbacks to the eye, or perhaps that eye is damaged. He was over there. Howard Foster seemed to whisper something to him, and I was convinced the fight was over. He then seemed to suck it in, and he came back, and you were absolutely right, Mike. You caught it. Errol Spence doesn't have an awful lot left, but does he have just a little bit more than the one-eyed Kell Brook has left? We have 2 rounds to find out.
Well, in boxing's petrol gauge, both men are digging deep into reserve here. And will this go the distance? 2 rounds remaining. We'd love it to go another 10, but these two men have taken so much in terms of punishment. They've given so much in terms of entertainment. There is something in the air around British boxing at the moment as Howard Foster takes Kell Brook back to the corner on the far side of the ring for some more repair work on the gloves, this time on the cuff of the left glove. But we saw David Haye against Tony Bellew in March at the O2 Arena. 4 weeks ago tonight at Wembley Stadium, it was Klitschko versus Joshua. No wonder the Americans are here in force. This is the epicenter of world boxing at the moment, and we're seeing another fight to remember here. We're into round number 11. 2.5 minutes to go, and who could possibly call this at this stage? Spence tries to open up. He looks sharp, but a left hook from Kell Brook, then a right hand, but somehow the American has taken them in this, his first world title fight. He's answered so many questions here tonight as Errol Spence, win or lose. We knew that Kell Brook had this kind of resilience. He showed it for 5 rounds against the toughest middleweight in the world. But Errol Spence goes on the front foot, and this time it's Kell Brook who's under pressure once again. Is this yet another turning point as we move into the 2nd minute of round number 11? And once again, Brook is blinking. Is he fearing another serious injury? Can he last another 5 minutes here? And if he does, has he got a big enough lead on the judges' scorecards? Errol Spence here is being grabbed by Brook, and Brook again is dabbing at the left eye. He's blinking and he's winking. He's really troubled by that left eye, and he goes down on one knee. He cannot see, can Kell Brook. And finally, is it a case that the resilience is broken? His father Terry is there now as referee Howard Foster waves it all off. Howard Foster decides that Kell Brook can take no more. The punishment is enough as Errol Spence dives onto the corner posters above us here. And in the 11th round of an unforgettable contest, Kell Brook finally is rescued by the referee. A bad injury by his left eye means that he has had to lose his world title belt, and Errol Spence is the new IBF welterweight champion of the world.
Well, Mike, there was a point there just before the stoppage when even Errol Spence stood in silent admiration as Brook backed away, flicking his eye, trying to get some vision. His partner was up, his father was up, Eddie Hearn was up, every single person in here was up. Howard Foster looked at it and then he went down on his knees. He couldn't continue at that point. He just couldn't go on, Adam.
Couple of things. What an incredible fight we just had the privilege to sit this close to. Secondly, we talked beforehand about the questions that hadn't been asked of Errol Spence. Every single question, I think, got asked and answered, and plus tonight. I think Errol Spence is special. I think Kell Brook is one of the best world champions we've probably had, and he came up against something that little bit extra.
You know, we've got so many world champions at the moment, Mike, and so many guys coming in and out of world title fights. It seems almost every single weekend. And then something like this happens when you get a really good world champion, Kell Brook, arguably our best, against an American, not just an American, a special American. We saw Gervonta Davis last week. We've seen some good Americans. We've seen some good fighters come here. That guy tonight, Errol Spence, that was special. I thought in about round 7 or 8, I thought it was all over. I thought he was going to gas. Fantastic ending.
Down on one knee over on the far side of the ring. In the end, the referee showed mercy, Howard Foster, and Kell Brook, to be honest, didn't argue and was in no position at this stage to continue. In the 11th round of a fight in which both men took so much punishment, and you could ask a question as to whether Errol Spence will grow from that. You'd think the obvious answer would be yes, but that was such a tough fight. Maybe some of his future career was taken away from Errol Spence tonight. But always, Adam, the cushion for the blows is victory at time like this.
Yes.
It will hurt much more for Kell Brook, no matter what's happened to Errol Spence, because Spence has the cushion of victory.
Errol Spence was tested mentally and emotionally tonight. I don't think he was ever hurt to the point of being in trouble. He was tested mentally and emotionally, just like any young prospect or any young contender has to go through to become a genuine champion. I think that's the question, and that's what it took out of him tonight, but I think that will galvanise him and make him a better fighter.
I just hope in the minutes, hours, days and months and years going ahead, people don't start to rewrite this fight as some kind of performance from Spence that was brilliant from start to finish. It was a slugfest. It was a great performance by Spence, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't domination. It wasn't a guy smashing a man to bits.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Howard Foster has to call an end to the contest. He reached the count of 10. It's a knockout victory at 1 minute 47 seconds, round number 11. The winner and new IBF welterweight champion of the world, still undefeated, Errol the Truth Spence Jr.
So Michael Buffer confirming the victory for Errol Spence Jr, the new IBF welterweight champion of the world. An instant classic, Bunty. There's no mistake about that. When you think back to some of the great fights in the welterweight division, Hearns against Leonard in the 80s, that one goes straight in there. And round 10 in particular was an absolute classic.
Round 10 was incredible. Round 2, when they suddenly stopped testing and probing. There were moments in rounds 4, 5, 6 and 7. We saw a clash there, and we have some great fights here, but sometimes there's a reason why they're great fights, because one guy's at the end of his career, another guy's at the beginning or the starting stage, and he maybe gives too much or does too much. But there was no sense before this fight that in any way Kell Brook was coming close to the end of his career, Adam. Let's get that absolutely right. Just like there was obviously no suggestion that Errol Spence was coming anywhere near the end of his career. He was just coming out. We've got two guys, not quite a perfect storm, because there was that Golovkin fight where he gained and had to lose a stone, but not far from it. And it reminds me a little bit of the last time that perhaps two of the best one weight fought each other, and that was, and it was without argument, was the number 1 cruiserweight in the world, the number 2 cruiserweight in the world, David Haye against Enzo Maccarinelli. We've seen here tonight certainly two of the top 4 welterweights fighting each other, and that it is, as you mentioned earlier on, Fletch, it's been a privilege, and Adam said the same thing, to be this close to what we've witnessed.
Well, I think it's, the questions were all there, weren't they, before the fight started? How good was Errol Spence going to be? What were we going to learn about him tonight? Could he answer all the questions that were there? The questions were there about Kell Brook as well. Was he just beaten tonight, Adam, by a better man, or were the factors that we talked about pre-fight there for people to see? Did the tank start to empty, or was it simply down to the eye in the end?
That was an elite level fight. Going into the 10th round, I had the fight even. So you can't say that Kell wasn't in the fight or he couldn't have won that fight. And then an injury occurred. The eye did start swelling. And you can, in such a hard war, having come back from that injury against Golovkin, how can you not understand why Kell was showing signs of concern and distress when he felt that eye closing? Because the last time that happened to him, he had an injury that the doctors would have told him, had that fight not been stopped, he could have gone blind. He would have been told that, and that would have been in his mind in those moments.
And there seemed to be a bit of consultation. I know Eddie Hearn is not a surgeon, and I know that Dominic Ingle's not a surgeon, but they seem convinced that there's something wrong with the eye. They're absolutely convinced. And what's more, Kell's convinced, and he knows, Adam, because he's already been down that road before with the other eye. I think that there is a consensus in that corner. Again, admittedly, they're not medically trained, but they know, they've been through it before. I think they think the eye's damaged, Fletch. It's not a case of a swollen eye. They think it's damaged.
Got to give tremendous credit to Errol Spence. I mean, he's been in there in an absolute war, hasn't he, for 11 and a bit rounds with Kell Brook, and he's 10 and a bit rounds with Kell Brook into the 11th, and he's hardly got a mark on him, but he had to go to places tonight that he's never been before. I mean, he'd been rolling over everybody in the US. The reputation was building. This was the first real test of the career, and boy, didn't he come through it with flying colours.
He's lived up to the hype, and he is a new young champion who we can see will be at the elite level for some time to come.
Yeah, he's here. He's here to stay. And let's get this absolutely right. Even though here on 5 Live and some of the British press, the media this week, haven't declared him the second coming and the greatest thing since sliced bread, or even wholemeal bread, or even rye bread for some of the more dietary conscious listeners we have here at this late hour. But let me tell you something. We knew he was a good fighter. We knew he was a terrific talent. What we've seen tonight is everything that we thought we knew coming true. And Adam slipped me a note a round ago. He said Spence is special, and that might just be the sentence that sums up the night. Well, both fighters are still in the ring. Kell Brook at the moment is speaking to the television, and the interviews being heard around Bramall Lane with supporters rapidly leaving the stadium. Mike Costello is going to speak to him in a few minutes' time, and Errol Spence is in there. He came in wearing gold, and he's got the gold around his waist at the moment. The IBF welterweight title belt is strapped around the waist of the very exciting American Errol Spence, who's still in his corner about 10 yards away from me to my right-hand side, surrounded by his team, a big smile on his face, and he's got the look, Steve, of a fighter who can reign at the welterweight division for quite some time. And of course, up at light middleweight, there are dozens of fights in the coming 3 or 4 years for him. Absolutely, lots and lots of them. And I had it 9-5 going into. I had it 5-5 going into the 11th, but I had it Spence up by 1 point because of the knockdown. So I had it 5 rounds each going into the 11th, but Spence up because of the knockdown. What would be really interesting is if we can get it, Adam, and also you, Fletch, is to get the scores. I want the scores. I want to know how the 3 men at ringside had it. That's going to be really intriguing.
I had, going into the 11th round, I had Spence 2 points up.
And does that include the knockdown? So
that
one
was
round up.
Because round 10 was 10-8.
Because you gave the first round a draw.
Yeah.
So in all fairness, we're at this tight, we're at this clustered. 1 or 2 of our American cousins are looking at us like we're crazy, but hey ho, probably some of the Sky guys think it's the other way round. No, not surprisingly, I think that Kell Brook has gone straight back to the changing room, which is no surprise when you think about the condition that his left eye is in at the moment. The medical team and his cornermen are going to straight away want to take a look at that and make sure
sure that he's okay. I think in the meantime, very, very soon, we're going to hear from the new world champion Errol Spence, who is just having 1 or 2 photographs taken, and Mike Costello is on the ring apron at the moment, waiting to speak to the man they call the Truth, and the man that they now call the IBF welterweight champion of the world. Mike is in there in a bit of a scrum at the moment. There's a guy that's actually got into the ring, which has soon been sorted out by the security staff, and he's quickly been removed. In the meantime, Mike is waiting patiently to speak to Errol Spence, who's milking the moment. You can't blame him. I think we're going to hear from Eddie Hearn first. He's with Mike Costello.
Yes, as you were saying, Darren, Kell Brook is being taken to hospital, so they want to get him there as quickly as possible. Eddie, first of all, your thoughts about the fight?
Well, first 6 rounds I was very comfortable. You know, Kell was controlling the pace lovely, had him probably 4-2 up after 6 rounds. And then in the 7th he came back to the corner, and I was sitting next to my dad, and I looked at his eye, I thought, I can't believe it, the other one's gone, you know. And the fight just changed after that. Errol Spence was fit, strong, a very good fighter, best man won on the night, no excuses with the injury. You know, Spence deserved the victory and he was the better man.
It is incredible, isn't it? Because the right eye went against Gennady Golovkin, and he feels it's the same kind of injury.
It is. I just spoke to the eye surgeon who actually fitted the titanium plate in his right eye, and he said, no, he's definitely broken his cheekbone. He's going to have one in the left eye. So, you know, it doesn't get much worse, and it's so tough for a fighter who wants to get up off the floor, and when you get that injury, you have double vision. And he just said, I was on the floor, I just couldn't see. The whole ring was going everywhere, and you know, to have to end the fight like that is devastating for Kell Brook, especially in front of his home fans, you know, when he would have wanted to carry on till the end.
It'd be fascinating to see the scorecards. You haven't been able to see. I saw
that. I believe Errol Spence was 3 rounds, 4 rounds and 5 rounds up, which, wow. I mean, don't quote me on that because I'll have to check, but that's what I think the board told me. I had him 2 rounds up going into that round, and obviously he was dominating that round. He was clearly starting to take over the fight. You know, whether it was the weight, whether it was the injury, probably a little bit of both, or whether it was just Errol Spence was very, very good, and I think that was included as well. But like I said, after 6 rounds, very comfortable in the fight, you know, and Errol worked the body really well from the first round, continued to work the body. You know, he was trying to scream at Kell to work the body on the inside as well, but he was more interested in tying him up. You know, and it became a real shootout at the end. And, you know, like I said, Errol Spence is a special fighter and deserved winner.
Thanks for your time, Eddie. Right. And we wait for the prognosis, Darren, in terms of the severity of the injury to Kell Brook as to where he goes and what his future plans are.
Well, yes, we do. Thank you very much, Mike. Mike's going to move along the ring apron and try and catch a word with Errol Spence, who's just doing American television at the moment, chatting in the ring to Jim Gray. That's the worst possible news, Steve, isn't it? The fact that the injury to the left eye is in actual fact the same as the injury to the right eye that he suffered against Gennady Golovkin, which was a lengthy time out of the ring, a nip and tuck for a spell. In fact, let's get back to Mike. He's got Derek James with him, the trainer of the new world champion. Mike.
Derek, you told us this would happen, but first of all, what a special fight, special night.
Yeah, it was an amazing night. This is fight of the year. I mean, you see 2 very tough, 2 very daring, strong, physically fit fighters going out, and it was all about attrition. Who wanted it the most or who could take it? And like I told people, if Kell Brook could take it, you would see just how good Errol Spence is. I've said that over and over and over again, and you just saw just how good Errol Spence really was.
Were you concerned at any stage during the contest, or did you think your man was commanding throughout?
He was commanding throughout, but a couple of times I wanted him to not come straight down the center and do a couple of things a little different, and he did it, and that made the difference in the fight.
Thanks for your time, Derek. Here's the man himself. Congratulations, Errol. That was, I've just said to Derek, a fight and a night to remember.
Oh, definitely, man. This is a true fight. It had to show true grit. You know, he brought the best out of me. He was throwing punches. He was punching hard. He was punching fast. And, you know, he's a big welterweight. He's a strong guy, and I showed that I can take a punch, I can give a punch, and I can keep coming, too.
And you said because of your Jamaican roots, your dad is Jamaican, you grew up watching Lennox Lewis, and this was like one of those Lewis and Holyfield nights.
Oh, definitely, man. This was a great welterweight fight. I think, you know, it lived up to the expectations. We gave everybody a fan-friendly fight, and I think everybody enjoyed this fight.
Any stage in the contest where you were concerned? Could you describe yourself as hurt?
No. You know, he's strong, but he never hurted me where I was woozy or I was out on my feet. You know, but he did hit me with some good shots, but, you know, it was nothing I couldn't handle and I couldn't take and I couldn't give back.
First time on the World Championship stage. How would you compare that to the rest of your career? What were the big differences tonight?
It's a big difference, you know, the crowd, you know, 30,000 plus, you know, just the energy, man. It was electrifying to hear Kell Brook energy, and his whole camp was electrifying. You know, they came in here to really win and to perform in front of his fans.
Did that reaction and the ovation for Brook stir you at all when you came out, or did it raise your spirits in some way in terms of making the hostility work for you?
It motivated me, man. It motivated me to, you know, keep pushing, keep grinding, and to fight hard, and that's what I did. I loved it, and you know, I can't wait to fight again. This is a long layoff, 9 months. You know, hopefully I'll be back in the ring soon.
Thanks for your time. Fantastic performance. And
thank you.
Safe journey home.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike, and thanks to Errol Spence, 22-0, 19 knockouts, and the new IBF welterweight champion of the world. A question each to Steve Bunce and Adam Booth before we head back to the studio. Steve, I've got to ask it, and I don't want to ask it after such a brave performance by Kell Brook tonight, but where does this leave him, bearing in mind he's now got a second major surgery on an eye injury, which for a boxer is such a devastating blow, more devastating in many ways to the fact he's lost in the ring tonight?
Well, he goes away. He recovers. It looks likely he'll have surgery. You heard what Eddie said there. The eye surgeon thinks it's the same thing, and then he'll decide what he wants to do. Hopefully he'll do it at a more sensible weight, the light middleweight, up a few pounds, and we'll see. We might just have a situation where after 10 years of British title fights, 10 years of eliminators, and 3 or 4 years of world title fights, that might just be it. And trust me, if that was it, if he doesn't regain everything he had 2 years ago, it would just be following in the footsteps of other great fighters.
Mike Costello is back with us as well. I'll throw this there to Adam and Mike as well. When we look back on the night, it's been a fantastic night here at Bramall Lane, a memorable night, a memorable fight. What will you guys take away from what you've seen tonight, and how special a world champion might we have seen crowned here tonight?
Well, it never ceases to amaze me how much these men are prepared to give. But even tonight, Kell Brook, when he went down on one knee on the far side of the ring, it was simply because he couldn't see out of the left eye, and how cruelly coincidental that he suffered the injury to the left eye that he suffered to the right eye against Gennady Golovkin in September of last year. And I would have to say that has got to be the end of his career, because what is the point of coming back at any level below this? And at this kind of level, the quality of opposition is such that they will make that injury even worse during the course of a contest. There's no doubt about that.
Somebody close to Kell, who cares about Kell, needs to sit him down and explain to him and remind him of the hard fights that he's had throughout his career. And in his last 2 fights, he's had 2 injuries that are injuries that could affect the rest of your life in terms of what it can do to your vision. If you add that into the fact that he should never need for anything for the rest of his life because of the money that he's earned for him and his family, a wise decision now at the age of 31 would be to say, I've achieved everything I could have ever have done. I have financial stability and security for me and my family. Thank you and good night. That's what he should be saying.
Because he has 2 young daughters and a loving partner, and the daughters will very soon be of an age where they will start to understand what all this means to Daddy, and there is just no need at this stage of his life to impair the rest of his life.
Well, if that is the case, it's certainly a sad end to what's been a tremendous career for Kell Brook. All of that will become clear in the fullness of time, but it's time for us to leave Bramall Lane here tonight. Many thanks to Adam Booth, to Steve Bunce, and of course to Mike Costello as well. It was a glorious night for George Groves, the new super middleweight world champion, the WBA super middleweight world champion, at the 4th time of asking after he stopped the Russian Fedor Chudanov in the 5th round of his contest, despite a nasty cut over his left eye after a clash of heads in round 3. But a disappointing night, a devastating night in many ways for Kell Brook, beaten for the 2nd successive time. But we might just have seen a very special world champion crowned here at Bramall Lane tonight. On top of the world tonight, the new IBF world welterweight champion is Errol Spence of the United States. Over to Stephen Nolan in the studio.